because it's like, yeah, the mask off it like a little Vic.
Lil Durk is in serious trouble, and it seems like things are only getting worse. The drama surrounding him and his OTF crew has reached a new level, with betrayal, hidden wires, and even a hitman turning on them in court. At the heart of it all is the tragic death of Rondo's cousin, Lil Pop, who was shot and killed in Los Angeles last year. For nearly 2 years, there was little talk about the loss, but it hit Rondo hard. Now, the police are saying the hit was no accident. It was part of a calculated plan that prosecutors believe was orchestrated by Durk himself. Just a few weeks ago, 5 OTF members were charged for their involvement in the hit. These men, Vonnie, DD, Flocka, Browns, and Boogie, are accused of using guns, cars, and careful planning to carry out the shooting. They are facing serious federal charges, including conspiracy and murder for hire. And it doesn't end there. Durk himself is caught in the middle of it all. The feds say he tried to escape the situation by booking flights to Dubai, Switzerland, and even a private jet to Italy. But they were already tracking him and arrested him in Miami. Things are looking grim for Durk, especially since his lyrics from Federal Nightmares seem to have predicted what's happening now. His friends are reportedly testifying against him, adding to the fallout from this situation. Most people believe this all traces back to the heartbreaking loss of King Von in 2020. The feds claim Durk vowed revenge on Rondo, which led to the deadly plot against him. Fast forward to August 2022, and the streets of LA turned into a battleground. 5 OTF members allegedly set up a for-hire hit on Rondo. They tracked him using money from OTF to pay for flights, cars, and hotels, and even wore ski masks to hide there. They followed him through LA and ambushed him at a gas station. Fortunately, Rondo survived, but his cousin, Lil Pop, was tragically killed. Instead of laying low, the hitmen met up at a burger joint, coordinated more payments, and flew back to Chicago, all financed by OTF. Little did they know, federal agents were already tracking their every move through credit card trails, surveillance footage, and text messages, one allegedly from Durk himself, warning them not to book flights under any names connected to him. The charges against the 5 men are serious, with possible life sentences if convicted. Durk's name may not be directly mentioned in the indictment, but his ties to OTF and the case are undeniable. The prosecution is making the case that OTF wasn't just a music label, it was a criminal enterprise. Durk's attempt to flee the country only added more fuel to the fire, and if things weren't bad enough, there's talk of betrayal inside OTF. Authorities seem to have gotten too much detailed information for it to have come from nowhere, and rumors are swirling that someone from within OTF is working with the feds for a group like OTF, known for its loyalty. This betrayal could be the ultimate blow. The name that's being whispered is OTF Jam, once Durk's close ally. It's a tough situation for Durk, and
get out that jam, I'll give him 50, he ain't gotta ask again, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? He ain't gotta ask, bro. He said he gave you 50, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
More than that shit. Like more than that. Shit. But so, can you tell us how much he gave you, or you don't want to even?
No, we ain't gotta get into all that, but bro made sure he made a way for me to be straight. Like,
Jam, a longtime OTF member, is at the center of the storm now that it's been revealed he was secretly working as an FBI informant. He wore a wire for years, recording conversations with OTF members, including Durk himself. Jam had been released from prison in 2022 after serving 12 years for attempted murder and was welcomed back into OTF, even praising Durk's music as a lifeline during his time behind bars. However, cracks started to form in their relationship when Jam reportedly sought help, either financial or legal, and felt ignored or undervalued. It's believed that shortly after his release, Jam began cooperating with the FBI, and the evidence he gathered is what led to Durk's arrest. Now, Durk is facing serious charges, and 5 OTF members are implicated in the case. prosecutors have presented a detailed case of a calculated revenge. His trial is set for January 2025, and the pressure is mounting. He's brought in Drew Findling, a top lawyer who's worked with stars like Cardi B and NBA YoungBoy. But even with the best defense, things look grim. If convicted, it's life in prison. Durk's entire journey has been about survival and loyalty. But now, he's at a crossroads. Can he beat these charges and rebuild his legacy? Or will this be the end? Only time and the courts will tell. His death was already a big topic. But now, people are wondering if it's connected to the hit on Quando Rondo's cousin in LA in 2022. Ken was a known OTF member, and his sudden death has many asking whether he was part of the retaliation plot the prosecutors are accusing Durk of orchestrating. Was was he a key player or a victim of internal drama? Did he get caught in the middle of the ongoing feud between OTF and Quando Rondo's camp? The tension between the two sides has been building since King Von's death, and revenge is a common theme in situations like this. If Ken knew too much, as for Vonnie, he's now in the spotlight. Vonnie has the most to lose, as he reportedly has evidence that could harm Durk's case. He was seen on a plane with Durk, holding an OTF credit card, and is allegedly linked to the weapons used in the LA hit. If Vonnie decides to cooperate with the authorities, he could use this evidence to make a deal and possibly reduce his sentence. The fact that Jem snitched raises the question, will others from OTF—
I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't know. I don't know. Cause what you do? You've met him before. What did you do for me to be into it with you? Like the real thing. Diss songs back and forth.
Durk Banks, better known by his stage name Lil Durk, was arrested in October near Miami International Airport, allegedly on his way out of the country. He's accused of plotting to murder rapper Taekwon Bowman, better known as Quando Rondo. Federal prosecutors alleged in the previous indictment Lil Durk put a bounty on Quando Rondo's head after one of Rondo's associates shot and killed Durk's longtime friend and collaborator King Von in 2020.
The feds have just confirmed Lil Durk's alleged participation in a targeted attack on Quando Rondo's cousin, and it's causing quite a stir. This news comes after years of tension between Durk and Quando Rondo, and it's putting a spotlight on their ongoing feud. Let's break down what the authorities have found, what it means for Durk and his crew, and how all this foul blood started. So, what exactly did the feds reveal? They've managed to piece together Durk's claimed role in a plot targeting Quando Rondo's cousin, Lil Pob, who was tragically killed. Durk's in a lot of trouble now, and it's not looking like he's going anywhere anytime soon. His arrest is the result of one of the most high-profile rap feuds in recent memory. This feud between Durk and Quando has been ongoing for a long time, and despite Durk's legal problems, Quando Rondo isn't holding back. In fact, he's tackled the situation through his music. After Durk's arrest, Quando dropped a song called Life Goes On, where he raps about missing his late cousin and dealing with the pain of his loss. In the track, he talks about how life keeps moving forward despite the hurt, saying, "Life goes on. I know how you feel. It feels like the rain coming down." But despite the focus on remembering his cousin, the song also hints at the deeper feelings tied to the rivalry. Despite their differences, Durk has acknowledged Quando in interviews. In a past chat with DJ Academics, Durk made it clear that he was aware of Quando's actions and wasn't backing down. The whole situation has caused even more tension between their camps, and with Durk now facing serious charges, the drama is far from over.
Quando's career has been affected because
Quando's a little boy.
Well, I mean, that's his artist.
I used to have him like this.
You mean Quando?
Saying 63rd. Me and Vaughn. Yeah.
There's video of this?
Google it. No, I ain't having in the head. Like,
oh, yeah.
But I'm telling like, he was the same one for saying fuck 63rd. So we don't bring hate.
The feds are now zeroing in on Lil Durk, pointing to him as the mastermind behind the plan to take out Quando Rondo's cousin, the one he mentions in his recent track. Evidence is starting to pile up, and it's looking more and more like Durk's involvement is undeniable. Durk's arrest took place on October 24th in Broward County, Florida. But what's really raising eyebrows is his attempt to leave the country that day. It turns out, Durk didn't just book a single flight, he allegedly reserved 3 separate flights to Italy, Switzerland, and Dubai, likely trying to throw law enforcement off his trail. His true plan was to escape on his private jet, which only adds to the suspicion that he was trying to dodge the feds. But things weren't looking good for Durk even before he made his move. 4 members of his off crew had already been arrested, and the feds were determined to catch him too. It's clear they were after him, and they finally got their hands on him before he could get away.
If they want you, they're going to get you. This non-extradition thing is all nonsense. If they want you, they'll figure it out. The United States is going to get you if they want you, period. I believe that. So you're not safe anywhere. If you're known to be someplace and they know you're there, you're not safe anywhere.
Lil Durk isn't the only one caught up in this mess. His entire crew, Otf, is tangled in it too. Reports say that back in 2022, they planned to get revenge on Quando Rondo for what happened to King Von. Now, prosecutors have indicted 5 men connected to the 2022 hit that was meant for Quando, but tragically took the life of his cousin, Lil Pop. The indictment, filed in Los Angeles, lists these men: Kevin Vonnie Grant, Deandra Day Wilson, Keith Flocka Jones, David Browns Lindsay, and Asa Boogie Houston. They're facing serious charges, including conspiracy to commit murder for hire resulting in death, and using firearms, including a machine gun, in the commission of a violent crime. According to prosecutors, the crew used an OTF credit card to buy plane tickets to California on August 18, 2022. Their plan was to monitor Quando Rondo's movements. Durk had even warned them not to use any trackable payment methods through iCloud messages. Once in LA, they tracked Quando's whereabouts, and Vonnie flew in from Miami to oversee the operation. He provided firearms and rented 2 cars for the job, a white Infiniti and a white BMW sedan. They tailed Quando's vehicle and opened fire on it, while Durk was trying to escape the feds by booking multiple international flights. They were already tracking him with wiretaps and devices. They also have evidence of Durk threatening potential witnesses, making it clear the situation is serious. But the most shocking twist, it turns out there was a rat within Durk's crew, someone he considered a brother. This person, Otf Jam, had secretly been working with law enforcement. Durk had even mentioned Jam in his songs, portraying their close relationship. Jam, who had received around $50,000 from Durk, was once seen as loyal, with Durk helping him get back on his feet. Ironically, Jam had been secretly gathering evidence for the feds, and it's his actions that could be one of the biggest blows to Durk's case.
Saying my whole time in jail, that stayed, bro. Like, before the money, you know what I'm saying? That was bro. Like, I remember when the money wasn't there, first I'm gonna say you 50, I got you, and I
still doing that.
Gave my lawyer money there when I'm fighting my case.
I ain't gonna lie, Durk come through.
All that, like,
Durk come through.
That's sure. So I don't give a fuck. Nobody say, like, sure. I know I'm the real witness. Like,
a lot of niggas can't say
anything. I ain't gonna like my whole time in jail, I was straight.
Jam, who rejoined OTF in 2022 after serving a 12-year prison sentence, quickly became part of the crew again. However, there's growing suspicion that he might have made a deal with the feds. Allegedly, Jam were a wire during his interactions with OTF members, and court documents reveal that he had been in communication with law enforcement, seemingly having inside knowledge about the group's activities. This betrayal is one of the major blows in the case against Lil Durk. Durk is accused of orchestrating a hit on Quando Rondo, placing a bounty on his target, and offering rewards such as music deals and other incentives for completing the mission. This plan, however, traces back to a personal tragedy for Durk. In 2020, his close associate King Von was tragically killed outside an Atlanta club. It was later determined that Lil Tim, an affiliate of Quando Rondo, was involved in Von's death. This loss allegedly pushed Durk to seek revenge, even going as far as hiring people to target Quando Rondo. While revenge plots like this aren't unheard of in certain circles, many are left wondering what sparked such intense hatred between Durk and Quando Rondo. For Durk, King Von's death seems to have ignited this alleged plot, leading him to mastermind a retaliatory strike. To understand the roots of this beef, we have to look back at the history between these two artists. The feud between Lil Durk and Quando Rondo actually goes back several years, though it didn't begin directly between them. It's widely believed that the tension started with the tragic death of King Von in November 2020. King Von was signed to Durk's label, Only the Family, while Quando Rondo was part of NBA YoungBoy's label, Never Broke Again. Earlier in 2020, rumors of a rift between these two camps started to surface on social media. The situation escalated when King Von posted photos of himself with NBA YoungBoy's ex-girlfriend, Jania. Although Von claimed their relationship was purely musical, the photos caused drama, particularly between Von and YoungBoy. Quando Rondo, in turn, often defended his label head, and the pressure on social media fueled even more tension. In a November 5, 2020, interview with DJ Academics, Von addressed the rumors and denied any beef with NBA YoungBoy, but the drama continued to build from there.
So you wouldn't have no rap beef? You wouldn't be having no rap beef then?
Nah, hell nah, ain't no rap beef. What? Ain't no rap beef, and it ain't no real beef unless somebody got shot or something, or unless somebody.
People told me you and YoungBoy was beefing or something like that.
Nah,
you said something about what happened, Von? What's going on with you, man?
They be saying that a lot. It's like we got the same interests and holes, and then you know how the internet will try to make it.
Don't tell me I got problems over girls.
No, it's the internet, gang. It's the you know, they try to make it like that because it's the internet. You see what I'm saying?
The tragic events between Lil Durk and Quando Rondo have continued to escalate, with both sides suffering significant losses. The infamous confrontation outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in November 2020 marked the turning point in the rivalry, with King Von's death at the hands of Lil Tim, an affiliate of Quando Rondo, sparking a deep feud between the two camps. This deadly incident left Von's crew devastated and set the stage for ongoing tensions as both Durk and Quando's camps continued to throw jabs at each other through social media and in their music. Quando Rondo, despite facing backlash for his role in Von's death, maintained a defiant stance, especially toward Durk, his tribute to his late friend, El Pab, who was killed in 2022, further fueled the animosity, with Durk even sampling Rondo's cry of anguish from the incident in his own song, a move that intensified their rivalry. Meanwhile, Durk's situation has become more complicated, with new federal charges adding to his legal troubles. These charges include conspiracy to commit murder for hire, firearms offenses, and wiretapping, with investigators alleging that Durk played a major role in planning an ambush on Quando Rondo's crew in 2022, which resulted in the death of Rondo's cousin, El Pab. The indictment claims that Durk used his resources to fund the operation, booking flights, renting cars, and setting up the shooters. The feds also say Durk tried to flee the country after the heat was on, booking international flights to escape. This legal battle, combined with the ongoing tensions between the two camps, has changed Durk's standing in the community. Although he was previously honored by various Chicago neighborhoods, his arrest led Broadview to revoke their recognition, and other areas may follow suit. Durk's future is uncertain as he faces these serious charges, with life imprisonment or even the death penalty at stake if convicted. As for Quando Rondo, he's seemingly stepping back from the rivalry, especially after converting to Islam. His focus appears to be shifting, but the deep-rooted animosity between him and Durk continues to simmer, especially as both artists release music that addresses the ongoing feud. Lil Durk's latest album, Almost Healed, released amid this chaos, offers a glimpse into his emotional journey. The album, featuring collaborations with artists like J. Cole, Kodak Black, and Future, has garnered attention, with the single All My Life achieving significant success. However, his personal and legal struggles may cast a shadow over his career, as fans and critics alike wonder whether he can overcome the current crisis. The rivalry between Lil Durk and Rondo continues to evolve, with both sides constantly throwing shade at each other through their music. Durk's Almost Healed album, which features unexpected guest vocals from Alicia Keys on the intro track Therapy Session, has made waves, especially with his brutal diss track Same Side. In it, Durk confronts the tragic losses of King Von and El Pab, expressing his grief and anger. The track's raw emotion and aggressive tone have captured the attention of fans, with many considering it one of the most savage diss tracks in recent memory. Rondo, meanwhile, has been working on his own music, releasing Recovery in 2023 as a tribute to his late friend, El Pab. This album has a deeply personal touch, with Rondo sharing his sorrow over the loss of his friend and the struggles he's faced. His response to Durk's teasing about album release dates shows that he's not backing down, although he seems to be focusing more on his music than engaging in public beef. Despite the animosity, both artists continue to generate attention with their releases. Durk's Same Side is especially noteworthy for its brutal energy, as Durk spits lyrics that are seen as a direct hit to Rondo and others connected to the conflict. Some fans believe that Durk's anger is a reflection of the painful experiences he's been through, particularly with the loss of King Von. This track, while honoring those who've passed, also demonstrates Durk's ongoing commitment to his demon time persona, despite his attempts to move forward in his personal life. As for Rondo, it's unclear how he will respond to Durk's diss. Though he has been busy working on music, there's always the possibility that he'll use his platform to address the ongoing tension in his own way. Given the amount of trouble he's been through in recent years, it's uncertain whether Rondo will engage in another direct musical response, but his loyalty to his late friend El Pab and the pain he's endured suggest that he might. The larger context of this feud also involves the complicated street ties that both artists have, especially Durk's connection. While Durk has paid tribute to those lost, including speaking on the influence of Von's legacy in the streets, the tensions and the memories of violence surrounding both men only continue to fuel the rivalry. This clash between the OTF and NBA YoungBoys camp, marked by loss and grief, has led to a legacy of public exchanges, with each artist using music as a battleground. In the end, it's unclear if this feud will ever come to a resolution or if more music and diss tracks will continue to drive the tension. Both Durk and Rondo seem to be using their art to process their grief and frustrations, but as long as the animosity remains, it's likely we'll continue to see these public confrontations on the music charts. The story surrounding King Von and the individuals he was allegedly involved with is marked by violence, tragedy, and unresolved mysteries. The lives of many young people were lost due to gang-related conflicts, and King Von's name is frequently associated with several of these deaths, whether directly or indirectly. Boss Trail, for instance, was a 17-year-old who was tragically killed in 2012. He had been trying to turn his life around, preparing to move to Iowa for a fresh start, but his life was cut short. His family suspects they know who the killer is, but there's not enough evidence to make an arrest, as no one is willing to step forward as a witness. The unsolved case still leaves many questions unanswered, though some believe that King Von, along with his associates T-Roy and J-Money, were behind the hit. Similarly, the death of 17-year-old Richard Modale in 2012 shares some eerie similarities. Modale was shot in a drive-by shooting by gang members believed to be linked to King Von. The shooting occurred after Modale and his cousin were targeted during a drive-by as they were walking on the street. Despite surviving the attack, Modale's cousin, unlike Modale, was not connected to any gang. King Von, who had tweeted about Modale's death and even referenced him a few years later, has been linked to the incident, though it's never been officially confirmed. Malcolm Stuckey's death further adds to the tragic tale, as he was shot and killed by King Von in 2014. King Von had been at a party, and after spotting rival gang members, he left to arm himself before returning to shoot at those present. Stuckey was an innocent bystander who was caught in the crossfire and did not survive the attack. King Von was arrested but was released when the key witness in the case failed to testify, likely due to fear of retaliation. Other victims connected to King Von include Derek Johnson P5, a rival gang member killed by Von and his associates in 2012, and Kakira Barnes, a woman known for her gang TIs and violent actions. Barnes was killed in retaliation for the murder of her close friend. She was shot multiple times in her rival's neighborhood, and although some deny King Von's involvement, rumors persist that he played a role in her death. These tragic events highlight the deep, often deadly gang rivalries that plagued Chicago's streets, especially within the context of O Block, King Von's home turf. The complex web of relationships, including the mix of love, hate, and betrayal, shaped the violent culture and ultimately the fatal outcomes of so many lives. King Von's legacy, especially in the aftermath of his death, remains shrouded in controversy as people continue to debate his involvement in these killings. But one thing is certain: his influence on the streets and the tragic events surrounding his name have left a lasting impact on those affected by the violence in Chicago.
And King Von, you know, he ended chaos.
She knocking the fuck off, man. Hell no, that shit false, man. They need to go put that the rest of that bogus shit they putting out.
The situation you're referring to paints a picture of the complex and often violent world surrounding King Von, Lil Durk, and their associates. The loss of life, including the tragic events involving Tyreek, underscores the reality of street conflict and the dangerous dynamics of gang-related violence. Fans online expressing a desire for peace and calling for rest for both King Von and those lost to violence reflect a growing sentiment to stop fueling the cycle of retaliation and continue the legacies of these individuals through music and remembrance rather than more violence. Tyreek's death in 2019, after a fight broke out at a house party, adds to the list of violent incidents that have marred the reputations and legacies of those involved. Witnesses to the event noted that after a heated verbal argument, the situation escalated to gun violence. While details remain unclear, it's believed that King Von and possibly others from Chicago were involved in the altercation, with the belief that Tyreek's association with the Bloods played a role in the conflict. Tyreek's death, along with the injuries sustained by others, further illustrates how gang affiliations, rivalries, and personal grievances can lead to devastating consequences. Lil Durk's connection to King Von and his admiration for him is a key element in the narrative surrounding their music and personal relationships. While Durk was always supportive of Von and wanted to see him succeed, it is clear that the streets they came from and the problems associated with it have taken a heavy toll. These situations, marked by cycles of retaliation and grief, seem to weigh heavily on the minds of fans, many of whom wish to see an end to the violence and a chance for the fallen to be remembered peacefully. Ultimately, whether or not peace can be achieved in such a volatile environment remains uncertain, but the call for respect And peace from fans letting the fallen rest in peace and not picking sides is a sentiment that resonates with those hoping to see an end to the senseless violence that has claimed to many lives.
Von was Von before we made him Von to the world. You know what I'm saying? He was always him and me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when he got on, it was just like, it was like perfect.
King Von's legacy is undeniably complicated, and it has sparked heated discussions regarding his involvement in violence and his role in shaping the streets he came from. On one hand, Von was a talented artist who had the ability to captivate audiences with his raw and vivid storytelling. His music resonated with fans, who understood the harsh realities of life in the streets and the challenges of gang. But as his fame grew, so did his reputation for being deeply involved in street violence, including shootings and alleged murders. The point you're raising about gang members potentially being labeled as serial killers is an interesting and often overlooked perspective. Gang violence, in many ways, operates in a similar fashion to what we traditionally define as serial killings, acts of premeditated violence targeting specific individuals or groups. However, the distinction in public perception often arises because these acts are attributed to street conflict and gang culture, not as a series of isolated killings carried out by a single individual for personal gratification. In Von's case, his involvement in multiple violent incidents led some to view him as a product of his environment, while others view him as someone who relished in the violence, trolling his victims or their families, and even finding a twisted sense of satisfaction in the fear he instilled. That said, whether or not King Von was directly responsible for the deaths of many people is still a point of debate. Many believe his actions were driven by the culture of the streets, where loyalty, respect, and violence often become intertwined. His involvement in these incidents may have been exaggerated or magnified because of his street persona and the mythos that surrounds figures like him. People may put the blame on him because of his reputation, but it's important to recognize that these events are part of a larger system of gang violence, where responsibility is often shared among multiple parties. In the end, Von's life and death serve as both a cautionary tale about the dangerous allure of the street life and a reminder of the complexities involved in the narratives surrounding such figures. The conversation about King Von is a difficult one because it forces people to confront the realities of a culture that values violence and reputation over life. His legacy will likely be remembered for his musical talent, but it will also be marked by the violent path he walked, leaving behind a trail of devastation in its wake. What are your thoughts on the issue? Do you think his music or his street persona should define his legacy more?